everyone, and welcome back to another video brought to you by the Freedom Eagle. Political news and commentary with a conservative lean. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it was a crazy week, and another one is about to get underway. In this video, I'd just like to take a pause and do a little recap. In my last video, which was more or less a stream of consciousness about a variety of topics dealing with recent events, this video will be more about big tech and the recent suspensions of many individuals, follower count plunging on Twitter, or purging, I should say, the status of Parler and the President of the United States essentially being kicked off the entire internet. I would assume that the internet looks a lot like circa 2003 or so for the President at this moment because he is not allowed to post on social media. Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Pinterest, and everything in between have just kicked him right off their platform. So, we'll spend a few minutes on that topic, and we'll also get the opinion of Judge Jeanine Pirro, Parler CEO John Mates, and Dave Rubin. And I personally value Dave's opinion, especially what he said on a recent installment of Judge Jeanine, where he talked about big tech, what's currently taking place, especially what took place over this past weekend, and the future of conservatives as it relates to how we use social media and what we can and cannot say. And in another story, and perhaps to lighten the mood just a little bit, Alex Jones went to town on the Q. Now, when you're too crazy for Alex Jones, you've probably crossed the line. A rather funny clip of Jones is making the rounds on the internet, where Jones sort of throws up his hands at all of the silly conspiracy theories that have run amok over the past 60 days or so and crashed and burned last week in grand and unfortunate fashion. Jones puts his foot down in a way that only Alex Jones can. I mentioned Judge Jeanine a little earlier, and let's start with her. Saturday night, she had enough of fringe Trump supporters, and she called them out. I was personally happy to see it. Responsibility is key, and conservatives, we should always believe and value personal responsibility and call out people when they're harming conservatism, and especially when they're destroying property and placing people in danger. Another reason I appreciate Judge Jeanine's comments is that it's rare for a leftist to ever take this position against their own. You will see it, but you have to look hard to find it. By and large, the right will call out their own crazy. You've seen a lot of that this past week, and you're still seeing it now with many calling out the rioters and calling out people like Linwood and Sidney Powell, and basically calling out most everyone who used social media to spread a forest fire of conspiracy theories. Regardless of how you feel, we all watched how it ended, and it wasn't good. So, here's Judge Jeanine taking some Trump supporters to task.
And stop looking for other people to blame, including those dirtbag terrorists, Antifa. To those of you who did this, you did it of your own will, and you will be held accountable. Take the veil of politics off. Be totally objective. Anyone watching this must condemn it. And in the end, what was the point? What did you get out of it? Was there even a plan when you got in there, besides looking like a bunch of freaks, breaking windows, carrying off a podium, sitting at Nancy Pelosi's desk, leaving a love note with fingerprints behind, identifying yourselves with selfies, stealing, damaging property, trespassing, looting? 5 people are dead in your wake. A police officer, an Air Force veteran, not to mention countless injured, including a young police officer on video screaming as he's being crushed, blood coming out of his mouth. Did anyone stop to think that with this foolhardy effort to disrupt the congressional hearing, you have smeared 75 million of us because of what you did? Did anyone change their vote? No. You have tarnished all the good that's been done over the last 4 years because of this senseless lunacy.
Well, hard to argue. I think if we objectively look at everything and hear her words, she's right. We just can't sit around for months and months and talk about what took place over the summer and what is still taking place in Portland, as horrible as it is and horrible as it was, yet pretend that everything we saw last week wasn't bad at all. It was pretty bad, especially if you are a conservative. Why? Well, one of the reasons is because CNN will be playing those clips for the next 50 years. And every time conservatives point to some drugstore aflame and a bunch of folks chanting and carrying on in the streets like a bunch of anarchists, the left, well, they'll just pull that clip of the Capitol. So, to the folks who participated, you gained nothing. You lost most everything. And, I guess in a bigger picture, you harmed a lot of good people who are just some regular folks, and they're just some plain Jane conservatives, and they support our president. You tarnished those people. The actions of a few can truly affect millions in a negative way, and now many of us will spend years, perhaps decades, attempting to rebuild the image of conservatism, all thanks to a group of folks who will likely spend Joe Biden's first term as president in prison. Now, moving on, let's talk about big tech. Folks are dropping like flies, and I think it's been in the works for probably a year or more. That's another thing. Big tech has been looking for the perfect time to drop the hammer, and all the nonsense that proved to be fruitless and stupid at the Capitol was the meal ticket on a silver platter for big tech. It's what they've been looking for. They didn't need a reason, but they sure as heck got one, because this past weekend was a house cleaning of grand portion. The president is gone, and so are many others who've lost thousands upon thousands of followers on Twitter, while Amazon Web Services has suspended Parler, thus forcing it to go offline for at least a week or so, according to Parler CEO John Mates. Speaking of Parler, let's take a quick listen as to what Mr. Mates had to say during a recent interview with Maria Bartiromo on her show Sunday Morning Futures on the Fox News channel.
And first this morning, we have breaking news of yet another devastating blow to free speech. Just 24 hours after Twitter permanently suspended President Donald Trump, Google, Apple, and Amazon have now all banned Parler from their app stores, which experts say could destroy the company financially. Before its removal, Parler surged to #1 in Apple's App Store, with 1.5 million downloads on Saturday alone. Joining me right now in this exclusive interview on the telephone with reaction is the CEO of Parler, John Mates. John, it's good to have you this morning. Thanks very much for being here. What is your reaction and the impact to this squashing of Parler?
Well, thank you for having me on. Well, it's devastating, is what it is, and it's an assault on everybody. I mean, they all worked together to make sure at the same time we would lose access to not only our apps, but they're actually shutting all of our servers off tonight, off the internet. So they made an attempt to not only kill the apps, but to actually destroy the entire company. And it's not just these three companies. Every vendor, from text message services to email providers to our lawyers, all ditched us too on the same day. And they're trying to falsely claim that we were somehow responsible for the events that occurred on the 6th.
While that's the current situation with Parler, what's the bigger angle at work here, and how long will it last? How deep will it cut? Here's a clip of Judge Jeanine once again. This time she's joined by Dave Rubin and Tom Fitton, discussing big tech and how censorship is affecting conservatives and most any and all opposing opinions, at least at the moment. Let's take a look.
Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton, along with the Rubin Report's Dave Rubin, join me now. All right, guys, we don't have a lot of time. Tom, you know I love you. You get information that Congress can't get all the time because you sue everybody. Let's talk about the big tech, Section 230. For some reason, they get protected. What can we do about their protection?
The law should be reformed because the courts are misinterpreting it to allow them to engage in bad faith discriminatory activity and censorship against conservatives. They just locked me out of Twitter yesterday after I posted a tweet that they had previously found to be not in violation of their rules. It relates to the HCQ drug. Completely irrelevant, and they tell me I can't go back on for at least 7 days. This is a pretextual way of getting out a leading conservative. And it's not about just censoring people for saying the wrong things. They don't want us to be on the internet anywhere. So going over the Parler may work for some
Right.
time, but I guarantee you, I predict, unfortunately, that Parler won't be around in a few weeks, the way things are going.
It isn't. It isn't. It isn't. They suspended it today. Go ahead, Dave. Take it.
Yeah, Judge, it's just in the
Dave.
last few minutes that it's not just Apple
Yeah.
and Google Play that took them off their stores. Now the Amazon servers have gone down for Parler, so they're down for about a week. Look, we just have to keep fighting. You know, you may remember the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones when they took out about half the characters. Well, we're seeing a red wedding of social media right now. They are trying to take out every counter voice. You know, I started locals.com. We build digital homes for creators. I'm pretty sure you're about to launch on there, and Greg Gutfeld's on there, and Scott Adams, and a whole bunch of other great people. We're trying to give people tools so that you can create a type of internet that's better for you. That's what I'm doing. People can check it out at RubinReport.com. But we're not perfect. We're not safe. We know the knives are out for everybody. And I hate to say it, but a whole bunch of us, we told you this was coming. And if they take out Trump the way they have systematically knocked him off all of these things, this does not matter what you think about Trump. It doesn't matter what you think about the last couple days on Capitol Hill. They're showing you, hey, we can come for anybody, and everyone should be standing up. And
we're coming
of course,
for
we're
you.
seeing the media cheer it on because they, orange man bad. Yeah, but I hate to tell you guys that between Biden and the Democrats controlling the Senate and everything else, we're in a lot of trouble, guys. Like everyone needs to start figuring out off-ramps for the big social media things right now. They're watching this right now. There's no doubt that someone at Facebook and someone at Twitter and the rest of it are watching these shows. They're figuring out how can we get everybody else. This was coordinated. We all know it. And we're sitting there going, oh, can somebody save us? Nobody's coming to save us, guys. Like this really is it. Look, David beat Goliath, right? Like the little guy can beat the big guy. These things seem huge. They seem all-encompassing. They seem ubiquitous, and like we can never escape them. But they will destroy themselves, and we just need to build some things in the meantime. Yeah.
While the big tech saga is certainly drama in progress, what is no longer in progress is Alex Jones listening to the Q about anything. In vintage, and I do mean vintage, Jones style, the boisterous political commentator puffed up and pointed fingers in hilarious fashion. I think many people agree with Jones now that January 6th has come and gone, and every aspect of the whole trust the plan has gone the way of the dodo bird. Before we play the clip, Major League language warning on this one. If you do not wish to hear harsh language, I invite you to skip ahead in the video. If you are at work or any type of professional setting, I urge the same. If you have small children in the room, once again, I urge the same. Consider this your 10-second warning. Now, here is the humorous and just interesting clip of Alex Jones planting his flag in grand fashion.
We broke all that. We know that. I'm saying Q tells us stuff and all of it's lies, is what I'm saying.
You keep interrupting me.
Because you're lying. Because you're full of shit. That's why. Because every goddamn thing out of you people's mouths doesn't come true. And it's always, oh, there's energy, and oh, now we're done with Trump. You said he was the Messiah. You said he was invincible. You said it was all over. They were all going to Gitmo. Now, oh, he's part of a larger thing of Q. I will not suffer your Q people after this. I knew what you were day one, and I know what you are now, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of all these witches and warlocks and pumpkin popsums and everything. Oh, God. Sorry. Bye-bye, Q. I can't talk to you anymore. Jesus, Lord help me. Oh.
You see, this is why I saved Alex Jones for last. There's just no way to top that, so I thought I'd just let him take us on home in terms of this video. In the words of Roberto Duran, no mas, no mas. So, what are your thoughts? How do you feel about the recent developments in the world of big tech? Do you agree with Dave Rubin? What about the Capitol? Do you agree with Judge Jeanine calling out the people involved? And do you agree with me, with my opinion concerning the events of last week, and how I personally believe that it impacted conservatism in a very negative fashion? A fashion that I believe will also take years to overcome because conservatives have a very tight window, a very thin line to walk when you've got leftist media looking for anything and everything, and when you flat out give them something, then you've really harmed yourself, possibly for decades, at least in the court of public opinion, which is darn near possible to win even on your very best day. So please share your thoughts on all of this. Healthy debate and discussion is always welcome here. You don't have to agree. All I ask is that you keep it civil. If you enjoyed this commentary, please like, share, and subscribe. You'll always get honesty here, so if that's what you're seeking, I'll always try to be on the front line to share my thoughts every opportunity that I get. Much love to all of you. I hope this video finds you healthy and happy. And until we meet again, I will talk to you later.